Today, we're diving into Wings of Fire, the autobiography of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, and it is an absolutely incredible story. We're talking about a man who journeyed from a small island town all the way to the highest office in India, becoming not just a revered scientist, but also a truly beloved president. This is the story of how humility and ambition together can literally change the world.
And right from the get-go, Dr. Kalam himself introduces his life with these words. Think about that. It wasn't about the titles, the awards, or the power. It was about his roots. This deep sense of humility is the thread that runs through his entire extraordinary journey, and it's a powerful reminder that greatness, well, it often begins with the simplest of acts.
So let's go right back to the beginning, where he started, in the island town of Rameshwaram. This is where the foundation of his entire character was built, shaped by his family, his faith, and the world right around him.
He calls his upbringing a secure childhood, which is such a powerful way to put it. I mean, his family wasn't wealthy by any stretch. His father, he said, had great wisdom, but not much formal education or money. But Kalam insists his childhood was secure because all the necessities were there: food, clothing, shelter, and more importantly, it was emotionally rich, full of honesty, self-discipline, and just his deep, genuine kindness.
Now, there were three people who were just pivotal in his early life. First, his father, who taught him that adversity always presents opportunities for introspection. What a lesson. Then there was his cousin Samsudin, who gave him his very first job, catching bundles of newspapers thrown from a moving train during World War II. And finally, his friend Jalaluddin, who was the only person on the island who could write English. He was the one who opened Kalam's mind to scientific discoveries and a world far, far beyond Rameshwaram.
And, all that curiosity about the world beyond his island, it soon started to focus on one thing in particular: the sky. A simple fascination with watching birds in flight was about to ignite a lifelong burning ambition.
This right here, this was the lesson from his teacher that changed everything. See, Kalam had always been fascinated by flying, but this idea that he had to intensely desire it, that he had to believe in it and expect it, well, that transformed a vague dream into a real, concrete goal. He became absolutely convinced that one day he too would soar into the skies.
But desire, it can only get you so far. His dream immediately slammed into a brick wall. 1,000 rupees. That was the admission fee for the Madras Institute of Technology, the place where he could study aeronautical engineering. And back then, that was an absolute fortune, an amount his family just did not have.
And this is where you really see the profound faith his family had in him. Seeing his dream about to slip away, his sister Zohara made an unbelievable sacrifice. She mortgaged her own jewelry, her gold bangles and chain, to pay his fee. It was just this incredible act of love and belief that he carried with him for the rest of his life. Okay, so he gets into school, but that was just the first hurdle. His path forward wasn't going to be a straight line to success, not even close. It was a path that was defined by crushing failures, profound disappointments, and, thankfully, the mentors who guided him through the darkness.
So after graduating, he's standing at a fork in the road. Two opportunities, both so close to his dream. He could join the Air Force and become a pilot, the thing he had wanted since he was a kid, or he could take a job as a scientist with the Ministry of Defense. He applied for both.
And then, heartbreak. At the Air Force Selection Board, he placed 9th, and there were only 8 positions available. Just like that, the dream he had cherished for so long, it vanished. The opportunity had slipped right through his fingers. Can you imagine?
He was completely lost, disheartened. So he traveled to Rishikesh, where he met Swami Sivananda. And the Swami gave him this powerful advice, telling him that an intense, pure desire has an energy all its own. It was this spiritual anchor that really helped him accept his setback and start to trust that maybe, just maybe, his destiny lay somewhere else.
Fast forward a few years. Now he's the mission director for India's very first satellite launch vehicle, the SLV-3, and he's facing failure on a whole different level. The rocket takes off, it looks perfect, but then the second stage goes out of control. The entire vehicle, along with years of work and all his dreams, just splashes uselessly into the sea.
But here's the thing. What happened next is what would truly define his understanding of leadership for the rest of his life. In this moment of massive public failure, with the entire nation watching, he wasn't met with anger or blame. He was met with compassion. He was drained, totally defeated, and he just collapsed into his bed. And that's when he learned one of the most powerful lessons in mentorship. His superior, Dr. Brahmi Prakash, found him and simply sat by his side, offering silent support. No lectures, no blame, just being there. It was a lesson in leadership that Kalam never, ever forgot.
So what did the team do? They didn't hide from the failure. They didn't try to cover it up. No, they embraced it. Kalam himself stood up and took full responsibility. They saw mistakes not as endings, but, in his words, as imperative in development. So, they analyzed what went wrong, they upgraded the systems, and they got ready to try again.
And that culture of resilience, the one they built by learning from failure, well, it was about to pay off in some of the most spectacular successes in the history of Indian science and technology.
And get this, just 1 year after that devastating failure, on July 18, 1980, the second SLV-3 lifted off perfectly, placing the Rohini satellite into orbit. Just like that, India was a spacefaring nation. This incredible success paved the way for an even more ambitious missile program, leading to the launch of Prithvi and, finally, Agni, the culmination of his life's work.
You know, even the names they chose for these projects were so significant. They weren't just technical codes: Prithvi, Trishul, Akash, Nag, Agni. Each name was pulled from India's ancient heritage. It reflected this deep sense of national pride and self-reliance in what they were all building together.
And this is how Dr. Kalam described Agni in his diary on the night of its perfect launch. It's just so poetic, isn't it? He saw as so much more than a weapon or a machine. It was a symbol. It was the manifestation of a nation's capability, a symbol of its burning pride and the incredible power of its people.
So when you look back at this whole incredible journey, what are the big takeaways? Well, through it all, Dr. Kalam developed a core set of philosophies that he would share with the world.
He came to believe that problems aren't obstacles to success. They are the very essence of it. For him, science was never in conflict with faith. In fact, he saw it as the path to spiritual enrichment. He taught that knowledge is the one asset that can never, ever be taken away from you. And from mentors like Dr. Brahm Prakash, he learned that a true leader respects the dignity of every single person on their team, no exception. And you know, even after receiving the Padma Bhushan and the Padma Vibhushan, we're talking India's highest honors, his life barely changed. He continued to live in a small, simple room. It wasn't furnished with awards or luxuries. It was furnished with books. His true wealth was always, and always would be, knowledge.
Dr. Kalam believed that there's a latent fire in the heart of every single person. His life was a testament to what can happen when that fire is finally given wings. So the final question he leaves for all of us is this: what will you do?